Does God exist?
Yes.
In this video, I'm going to give 3 arguments that show that the answer to the question, does God exist, is in fact yes. So stick around, and without further ado, let's go, let's get it.
Without you, where would I be? Without you, where would I be now? Without you, where would I be? Without you, where would I be now? And once I was blind, you opened my eyes, and now I can see now.
What is up? How you doing? How you living? Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for stopping by. If this is your first time on this channel, my name is ScottEbruh, and I talk about questions and objections about the Christian faith, as well as provide you with motivational and lifestyle tips to help you seek, know, and live truth in all that you do. So hey, if those topics interest you, consider subscribing. So I'm doing a 4-part video series on how we can know Christianity is true.
Awesome!
In my last video, I talked about does truth exist, and if you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it up in the YouTube card and in the description down below. I recommend that you check that one out, because I mean, if truth doesn't exist, well then I can't even attempt to show how God exists. First, we have to answer that question with a yes before we can answer this question, does God exist, with a yes. So if you haven't checked that video out, check it out. Do it, do it, do it. So does God exist? Well, first we have to figure out, what do I mean by God, or what kind of God? When I say God, I'm talking about a theistic God, a God who is spaceless, timeless, immaterial, powerful, intelligent, personal. That's the kind of God that we're talking about. So I'm gonna give 3 arguments that show that this theistic God does exist.
Shall we get started?
And the first argument is the cosmological argument, which basically says that everything that had a beginning had a cause, and the universe had a beginning, so therefore the universe had to have had a cause. And this is true for everything we see. Like if you look at your phone had a beginning and it had a cause. Somebody had to sit down and cause this phone to come into existence. You don't just walk around and phones just come up out of nowhere, or like your car doesn't just randomly just appear out of nowhere. No, these things that have a beginning had to have had a cause. In the same way, the universe had a beginning, so the universe had to have had a cause. This universal beginning would be what a lot of the evidence points to as the Big Bang.
And then the Big Bang!
Now, I could talk about a lot of the evidence that points to the Big Bang and how we can know that it happened, or what evidence there is for it, but maybe I'll save that for another day, another video. But I'll just say that whatever caused this universe to have a beginning can't be inside this universe. You see, if material is what created this universe, well, the question would be, where did this material that created the universe come from? God could create a universe and is the cause of this universe because, as I said earlier, he is spaceless, timeless, and immaterial. Now, space, matter, and time had a beginning, and if you don't believe that God could create this universe, well, just read Genesis 1:1, which says that in the beginning, so there you have creation of time, God created the heavens, you got space, and earth, you got matter. So what is this cause of this universe? It seems that all the evidence points to it being God.
Is that clear?
The second argument is the teleological argument, which basically says that every design has a designer, and the universe is highly designed, therefore the universe had a designer. So everything that's created into existence has a designer. You look at like your phone, somebody created your phone. Even yourself, even you are designed.
Really?
And so this universe is highly complex. It's highly fine-tuned. If you look at the point of gravity, and if gravity was to be changed, well, we wouldn't be here. If the amount of oxygen in the atmosphere was lower than what it is, well, we would suffocate. And if it was higher than what it is, there would just be fires that would break out everywhere. If the earth was closer to the sun, we would burn up. If it was further away, we would freeze to death. So there's a lot of aspects of this universe that seem to point out that this universe had a designer. And this designer would be what we would define as God.
I think he did it on purpose.
And the third argument that shows that God does exist is the moral argument, which basically says that every law has a lawgiver, and there is a moral law, therefore there has to be a moral lawgiver. So how do we know that this moral law exists? Well, we know it by our reactions to things, right? When somebody does something to us, hey, that's bad, you shouldn't do that. See, our morals have to come from a standard that's higher than us. See, if we're the standard for morality, then we can't say that what one person does versus another is wrong, because it's just a matter of opinion. If one person was to say, it's okay for me to steal, and somebody else was to say, no, you're not supposed to steal, well, how do we know who's right, who's wrong? We have to look at a moral standard that's above us. And this moral standard would be what we define as God. See, God is a standard for morality and justice. So does God exist? I believe the answer is yes. Why? Because of the cosmological argument, the teleological or the design argument, and the moral argument. If you like this video, please leave a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, share this video with your friends, and tune in next time. Subscribe if you haven't already, as I'm going to be talking about the third question, which is, are miracles possible? So does truth exist? In the last video we said yes. Does God exist? I believe the answer to that is also yes. In the next video we're going to be talking about, are miracles possible? So we talked about does God exist, but we haven't got to the Christian God yet. How do we know it's not, the Muslim God or some other theistic God? And for that we have to look at the two other questions I'm going to be talking about in the next couple of videos. So hey, thank you for tuning in. Until next time, grace, peace.